This is the second part of wills. This video will show you how to find wills on Family Search, on Ancestry.com, and using Google. There will also be an explanation of testate and intestate wills. Here is how to search for wills in Family Search. I'm going to show you how to find wills in Family Search. Hopefully I can do this well and that you can understand what we're doing here, but we're going to go to search and we're going to go to catalog. And I'm going to do Barron County, Kentucky. I just type in Barron and it comes up United States, Kentucky, Barron. And I'm going to change it to online and search. And I'm going to come down and it says probate records. So I'm going to click here. And the first thing you want to do, well, you're going to look through each one of these records. You're going to look at the time frame, 1848 to 1882, 1835 to 1865. My great-grandfather died in 1824. This mixed probate records, general index, I'm going to click here because that's in that time frame. So I'm going to click on this. And I'm going to come down, I can click here and it gives me all of these different records. But this one has the general index. So I want to see that one. I'm going to click there. And when you come over here, oh, I forgot to show you one thing. No, it's not on this one. Okay, so we come here and we see we have it, it's in alphabetical order. It tells us the year, the name, and that it's a will. And it says Book 3, page 365. So I'm going to keep looking, and this is Adams. So we can see that they take every name and they give you all the different years, and in this case every one of these is a will. It tells you which book it's in and which page it's on. My great-grandfather's Thompson, and I should have recorded which page it was on. So we're just going to go down here. This is kind of what you have to do anyway, so I'll show you. So we're looking for Thompsons, and I'm on P's, so I've got to go a little farther. There's the end of the roll. Trigg, I'm on T's. It's going to be, let's try this one. Terry. Okay, we'll just go up here by the arrows, Thatcher, Thomason, Thompson. Here we go. And here's my John Thompson. There is his will. It's in book 2, an inventory. It's book 2, and this tells the pages. And this 1824, and these two were in 1825. So we say, well, what good is that? Okay, he has a will, he has an inventory, and the sale of his inventory. So let me pull up another tab here. Go to Family Search. Search. We're going to go back to the catalog, and we're going to see if I can remember how to do this. Okay, we're going to go back here. Search. Back to the probate records. Okay, and right here, I can see I've looked at this one, it says Will Book 2. So I want to click here. And I'm going to go to this. Oh, let me go back. I wanted to show you here. It tells you that this will book is item 1. They have different things, and I'll show you on here. So let's go in here to the camera. Okay, see it says beginning, and this is item 1 on this roll. Now let me scroll down. See, now this would be item 2, so this is something different. If we look at this, this is Kentucky wills, but this is Bourbon County. And I want Barron County. Let's go up here. Wills, Barron County Will Book 2. Okay, the Daughters of American Revolution. So I go over here, and This is not the actual will book. Somebody has transcribed it. And here is page 1, Benjamin Pullman. Now, let's go back over here. It said he was on page 353. So, this is nice because, whoops, I don't want to lose that. I want to leave that up. We want to find 353. So I am going to go down here and let's click on this. 418. Okay, let's try up here. 350. Was it 358? 353. Okay, so it was actually on the image before. 353. Here's John Thompson. It was his will, and it doesn't have the date, but it was probated August of 1824. And it tells us witnesses. These were the witnesses. This was his wife. This is the important part right here. Wife, his children. William was deceased. Horatio David John Jr., Talitha Glenn. And something to do with his house and land. And William's deceased had 5 daughters. So, even though I can't see the whole will, I get some really good information from this. And this is really what you're trying to do when you look at wills. You're trying to find these names, the wife, children, the witnesses. I actually showed you this will in the previous video. Anyways, so now I'm going to stop here and then I'll start up. I think I can find the actual will, but it's different than going to the county and the catalog. I think we have to go to the state of Kentucky. So I will start up again here in a minute. Okay, I am going to show you now a different way to find probate records. It might be able to be found through the county, but this is how I was able to find the actual will. So I go to search, and I'm going to go to catalog again. And this time I'm going to do Kentucky. I'm going to choose online and I'm going to say search. Then I go down to probate. Go down here to probate records. It says there's 12. So I found this one. Probate records, a collection of records from 1727 to 1990. So if I click on here, and then I'm going to do Control F to do a search, and I'm going to put in Berrien County, and I click on the first one. Okay, now you could click here, executor bonds. That's what I want to do. I want to do this. I don't want the executor bonds. That's not what I wanted. So I am going to click here, and it gives me browse through this collection of images. And I'm going to go to Berrien County. Now you look here and you get all these different probate records, inventories, administrative bonds, wills, and I want volume 2, 1817 to 1829. That is the record I am looking for. So I go there and it brings me to this part of this record. And let's go, okay. We have, and many times at the beginning of these books, even though it's not indexed, you will see that the book is indexed. And this is really important. You can actually go through. So we're looking for the T's. And I'm just going to go page by page. We could collapse it. And okay, here we go. So I have John Thompson. There's his will. And it's on page 353. Sale of his estate is 362. Inventory of his estate is 445. Now, so I'm going to try and find 353. Actually, I'm going to write these down. 353, 362, and 445. Okay. So I'm going to put down, iconify this, and go down, and I'm going to look. And the first time I looked, I got here to the end and I was like, oh, 200, I need 353. And I'm almost done with this book, this part of this book. Well, it says to be continued. So the book is continuing. So you want to look at that. It's still volume 2, Wills volume 2. So I'm going to keep going. And there is 354, so I can just go one more page. And here, I told you this in the previous one, it says Will John Thompson. And here it says Will, written out. I, John Thompson. Okay, and I went through this on the previous video. I go through this will. So that's how I find the will. Okay, let's look for 362 and see what that is. It's not the will, and that will be covered in another video, but let's see, 353, let's just go. 362, how about that? I got it. So again, I'm going to be looking over here, see if I can find, okay, sale of estate of John Thompson. And there is the sale of his estate. And I don't want to talk about this because this video is on wills and inventories, but that is how I found the book and found the will. Here is how to search for wills in Ancestry.com. Okay, I previously showed you how to find wills in Family Search. Now I'm going to show you how to do it in Ancestry. So if you just go to search from their homepage, do search all collections. Again, there's many ways to do these. This is how I have found to do it, and I just come down here. They have these titles, and we have tax, criminal, land, and wills, and we have U.S. wills and probates. So if you click on that, and I'm going to use my John Thompson. So if I do John Thompson, and he lived in Barron County, Kentucky, and it comes up, I click on that, and I do a search. And first thing that comes up is John Thompson, death 1826, about residence about 1826. Now I know that he died in 1824, but this has August of 1826 is this record. So let's click on that. We kind of hover over it and we see the names that are in this will. So let's click on this. Okay, and it gives us August of 1826 is this record, and it gives us all of these names, which are, and notice here it says Talitha Glenn or Talitha Thompson and Glenn Thompson. Actually, it's Talitha Glenn. She was his only daughter, Thompson. And now we can actually look at the record where they got this information from. So let's click on that. And it looks like it's a transcribed record, and it says it's on page 345, the will of John Thompson. To his wife, my son, deceased children, money shall be put in the hands of Waddy Thompson. So that is the will, and it was dated 1826. At least that's when this will, the recording of this one was in August of 1826. So it's quite easy to find things in here, but there was a lot more information on Family Search with inventories and all of those records. This one just gave me one record in Family Search. In Ancestry. Anyways, if you have access to Ancestry, it is a great tool, and in some ways it's much easier to search for it and find this information. A testate will is when a person dies with a valid will. Property from the estate is then dispersed according to the will. An intestate will is when a person dies without a valid will. The courts will then decide how the property of the estate is to be distributed. This next part will show you how to use Google to search for will and to give an example of an intestate will. I'm going to use Moses Skaggs as my example here. So I'm going to come over here to a new tab, and I'm going to type in Moses Skaggs estate. And I have two things that come up. I am going to click on this one. Let me actually do both of them. So let me do the same thing, Moses Skaggs estate. Okay, and click on that one. I really like this one. It gives a little bit more of the background on Moses Skaggs. He is a great-great uncle, one of my great-great uncles. And it said, no known descendants of Moses Skaggs and his wife Elizabeth. But there was an estate case in 1836. Now we don't really know exactly when Moses died, but it's estimated that he died about 1795 in Greene County, Kentucky. So when we look at this and it says this estate case was in 1836, we're talking about 40 years later after he died. So let me give you a little bit more background. Moses died before his wife. She was left with his estate, which there didn't need to be anything because it just defaulted to her. She owned the property and took care of the slaves that they had. But when she died, one of the relatives took over and started taking care of the land. He was the administrator on the land. Well, in 1836, about that time, there was a case that came up because two brothers, I think, Lewis, let's see, their last name was Lewis, Aaron and Jeremiah Lewis. They stated that they had recently purchased almost the entire state of the property. And so there was a question as to all of the heirs, because Moses had multiple brothers and sisters. I think it was 5 brothers and 4 sisters. I could count it and read it, but oh, here it is right here. 5 brothers and 4 sisters. I was right. So we find this there was actually no will. So this is an example of an intestate will, because it is taken to the courts and they're saying there's an issue over this property, the land and probably a home on it. And so obviously the heirs, the administrator of the property of Moses, have been paying the taxes on it and using the land. But now we have 2 people that apparently have purchased it, and there's some issues with it. Maybe some of the descendants were still using it. So it goes through and it tells goes through this whole document and tells what's going on and who the children are. It's a wonderful document. It gives his brothers and sisters, people that knew them, and their children. Now, I've read through this. It's been a long time since I've done it, and in searching, there are children that were missing, but this is what people knew because he lived in Virginia, so they're asking people in Virginia that, hadn't seen him in 45 years, but did know him. They were young. Of course, they were not aware of all of the siblings and their children, what had happened to them, and then they interview people that were in Greene County that knew him. So I want to tell a little bit about this one, the Moses Estate Papers. This one actually goes through and shows you the questions that were asked and the answers that were given. So I wanted to show you this because this is an example of an intestate will, and also doing a Google search. So I hope that helps it be a little bit clearer to you. Google search is a great thing in helping find sometimes a will. Somebody has put it on there or hasn't, and so then there might be, in this case, it was an intestate will and the court case that came up because of it. Anyways, use Google search if you can't find anything any other way, and see if somebody else has posted something. If you can't find the will online, then you can always try to visit the specific courthouse and look through their records. Please see previous video about visiting the county courthouse to view their records. Happy hunting!